p.m.
Tonight in CVM News at 7, Governor General lauds first responders for disaster efforts. $1.5 billion so far injected into government's relief efforts. Also in the news, help is budding for farmers across the hardest hit parishes. And investigations continue after body found under bridge in Portmore, St. Catherine. There's also farming forward with Giselle Mills. And in sports, bad weather continues to hamper Jamaica Scorpions at the regional 50 overs competition. From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7 for Sunday, November 23, 2025. I'm Amoy Harriet. Thanks for joining us. Up first this evening, a major police investigation is now underway in Portmore, St. Catherine, following the disturbing discovery of a man's body beneath a bridge along Port Henderson Road Saturday morning. According to reports, residents alerted authorities around 9:30 a.m., prompting a team to respond to the area near the Amanda Court apartment complex. Now, when officers arrived, they found the man bleeding and bearing multiple bruises. The scene was processed and the body removed as detectives worked to uncover what led to his death and whether foul play was involved. The Kingston Western Police have charged an accountant of Kingston 10 with possession of a prohibited weapon, making use of a firearm to commit a felony, and assault at common law following an incident at 5th Street, Kingston 12 on Sunday, September 14. He's been identified as 30-year-old Chilombo Barrett. Now, reports are that about 12:30 p.m., Barrett and a woman got into an argument during which he drew a piece of board and hit her. The woman reportedly picked up a knife in her defense. Shortly after, Barrett walked to his motor car and returned with a gun in his hand, which he pointed at the woman, causing her to feel fearful. He then fled the scene. A report was made to the police and Barrett was subsequently taken into custody. He was later charged on Saturday, November 22, after a question and answer session in the presence of his attorney. His court date is being finalized. Now, aside from imploring Jamaicans near and far to help the government achieve its goal of raising millions to support disaster victims after Hurricane Melissa, Governor General Sir Patrick Allen is heaping praises on the first responders, many of whom risked their lives to save others during and after the storm. He was addressing the nation during a telethon and fundraising concert on Sunday.
On Tuesday, October 28, 2025, our nation faced one of the most powerful and devastating hurricanes in our history. In the wake of Melissa's passage, I extended comfort to those who suffered loss and called on Jamaicans to unite in the work of rebuilding. Our resilience has been reflected in the bravery of our first responders, the Jamaica Defense Force, the Jamaica Fire Brigade, and the Jamaica Constabulary Force, who, alongside the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, have led search and rescue operations, aerial assessments, and road clearance.
Now, more than 600 million US dollars could be made available to the country in light of its recent pounding by a Category 5 hurricane. The financial ministry says while it's unclear as to the full range of damage to the country, it's pumped $1.5 billion into relief efforts so far. More details in this report.
There are several critical bonds and insurance instruments that the country is looking to utilize in its time of need. Financial Secretary Darlene Morrison explains that amid the destruction and losses, Jamaica now has access to just over 600 million US dollars from investment instruments. However, of that potential drawdown, she notes more than half are loans with interest rates she'll seek to provide at a later date. She offered a breakdown for PAAC Chairman Peter Bunting and opposition member Michael Phillips in the latest sitting.
So this is a potential expectation,
yes,
but
including what has already disbursed.
But you're still waiting on that final
yes, we're
after
still
the
waiting
assessments.
on one, yes.
Okay.
The IDB credit contingent facility for how much of that
Okay.
will be
But
disbursed. So we have an estimate.
Of the 753 potential total coverage, 622 is your estimate of what we'll be able to claim on.
Okay, the 622, the IDB credit contingent facility at October 28 was 285 million. We were in the process of doing an amendment to increase it. All of the things had taken place. The IDB board had not yet approved. They have approved it since, and so that 285 has moved to 300 in terms of what would be available. Right, so it is likely.
Ms. Morrison notes a recent communique addressing another possible drawdown option presented by the International Monetary Fund.
The Ministry of Finance will be providing the funds on the direction of the cabinet, so we would not.
But at a minimum, we would expect it to be the 622 million that you get under the various insurance and contingencies that you mentioned earlier.
Well, that is what is available.
Pretty much
would be
in the
available,
short term, in the immediate term.
In the short term, from the official policy instruments that we had in place. I would like to add that subsequent to the hurricane, we have gotten indications of the possibility for other flows. So one in particular, the IMF has indicated that we can access the rapid financing instrument. And so we would be seeking to do that as well, where we have moved to do that.
But you haven't quantified the amount yet?
All right, so again, they would need to tell us what's the max that would be available. We believe we are able to pull down 430 million, but it is possible that that can
be increased.
So far, she shares over $0.5 billion has been injected into the country's relief efforts and reminds a third supplementary estimate is to be tabled soon.
A total of $1.5 billion has been disbursed. There are other amounts that we are in the process of preparing. In terms of the 1.5 disbursed, there was a $350 million approval for withdrawal from the National Disaster Fund. That would have been ODPEM. There is 189 million from the Constituency Development Fund. It's incorrectly noted on the thing. Constituency Development Fund for MPs too, and 57 million for councillors to the Ministry of Local Government. There is also $1 billion that has been disbursed to the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Crystal Williams, CVM News.
Jamaicans fearful of a pending food shortage following the devastating blow dealt by Hurricane Melissa in several parishes will have some reprieve this Christmas. The Agriculture Ministry says initiatives are in place to import scarce produce in the interim and revive critical sectors ravaged by the storm. Several ministries explored post-hurricane relief and updates at the latest sitting of Parliament's Public Administration and Appropriations Committee.
Hurricane Melissa left immense damage to the agriculture and the fisheries sector in its wake nearly 3 weeks ago. Derman Spence is the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining. He told the Parliament's Public Administration and Appropriations Committee, PAAC, that several initiatives are in place to buffer the effects on farmers and consumers dealt a blow by the disaster.
We have contemplated what the food security demand on a monthly basis for the country is, for especially things that were badly damaged, cash crops and those things. And we are prepared to facilitate their importation up to a point where as soon as the recovery kicks in, we are able to seize that and to enable local farmers to be able to access the market space. So we have that. And so Christmas, we are hoping, will not be as good as it used to be, but may not be as bad as, it
could otherwise be.
It could be, even for eggs. So we are asking the companies that supply eggs was short before, to actually import eggs to bring in, and that's a first.
Additionally, the permanent secretary notes production incentive programs are now active to ensure normality as swiftly as possible to the sector.
Initially, we are, as a first response, committing some $450 million from existing funds that we had in the ministry for the production incentive program. Already that has seen, prior to the hurricane, because just like we prepared before burial, we continue to prepare in the season prior to the hurricane. And so we have $40 million worth of seeds that we have started issuing, especially targeting the areas that were not so badly hit, in which recovery can take place.
For now, he told the PAAC that rapid procurement is being done for heavy-duty equipment to aid in farming while outlining efforts to reduce expenses for farmers.
All services that reside within the ministry's agencies that would normally require fees, such as land preparation, such as payment for seeds and seedlings, lease arrangements that we have within the agri-park, material that we would normally provide for the fishers and fish farmers, such as fingerlings, nets, mesh, fishing license renewal. All of those have been waived initially for 3 months.
Kevin Black, CVM News.
Farmers across the island, especially in St. Catherine, are struggling to recover after Hurricane Melissa devastated crops and livestock. The government says it's accelerating support to help them rebuild. As Kevin Black now reports, Minister of Agriculture Floyd Green outlined the plan.
Today we are here in northeast St. Catherine to give some support to our farmers here.
The Minister of Agriculture, Floyd Green, explains the stories coming from the fields are devastating. Farmers hit by Hurricane Melissa, especially those in St. Catherine, have lost acres of crops and vital livestock, forcing the government to accelerate support efforts to help them recover.
We still see a lot of losses, especially to our small chicken farmers. We still see a lot of loss to our vegetable lines. So we speak to people who would have lost their goats, things of that nature. Because when you have significant rainfall, when you have high winds, especially with crops like banana planting, you're going to suffer. So in this Geisel area, over 1,100 farmers we have accounted for that have suffered significant loss from Hurricane Melissa.
Member of Parliament for St. Catherine Northeastern, Carencia Morrison, told our news team that requisite support is urgently needed for her constituency's farmers.
We're talking about loss of crops, loss of livestock, loss of poultry.
And we do apologize for the incorrect insert there, but here is the report.
You have significant rainfall, when you have high winds, especially with crops like banana planting, you're going to suffer.
Hurricane Melissa has left Jamaica's farming sector in crisis. Crop fields have been washed out, livestock destroyed, and critical infrastructure damaged, placing enormous pressure on rural households that depend on agriculture for survival. According to Minister of Agriculture, Floyd Green, the government has already activated rapid response teams to assess damage and distribute immediate relief. He says the focus is on getting farmers the input and the support they need to restart production quickly.
We have recognized that it's important to get out as quickly as possible. You have to get to the farmers so that they can get back out there. So this is 3 weeks after Hurricane Melissa, and we are literally out there distributing seeds, distributing potato seeds, distributing fertilizer. Because we're saying to the farmers, despite what you've suffered, we need you back out there. And they understand that as part of their enterprise, as part of their business model, the quicker they can get back going is the better for them. We already have allocated $40 million for seeds. We already have an Irish potato program ongoing, so we're going to be distributing them now. We have some fertilizer. I want to thank the government of Morocco who have provided some fertilizer. So we're getting all of that out to the farmers in different parts of Jamaica so they can do what they love, which is farming.
Green also revealed that a new assistance scheme is being proposed for constituents directly hit by the storm. The initiative aims to provide financial help, replanting incentives, and resources to rebuild damaged operations.
In every parish office that is functioning, there are distribution happening daily since I would have spoken in Parliament on Tuesday in relation to especially vegetable seeds. In some areas we will do a public distribution because we think it's important that people see that things are happening. When people just go and collect from the office or the extension officer, they may not register that these things are happening. So we will do engagements like this in multiple parts of Jamaica, including some of the hardest hit parishes like St. Elizabeth.
In the hills, where landslides and fallen trees have cut off entire sections of farmland, the cleanup effort is proving even more challenging. Minister Green says special attention is being given to restoring access for these hillside farmers.
The first step was to help in the cleaning. So we have been out there trying to help using some of our equipment, some of our backhoes, to help clean some of the badly affected areas, especially for our hillside farmers. Now that the Ministry of Finance is giving an allocation towards the overall recovery effort, you will see the reality mobilized. So I would say give us another 2.5 weeks for us to get and start doing some of the roads. We're going to focus especially on some of the roads that need rehab. So some of the roads that maybe were done recently but have now suffered, we don't want them to go back to square one.
The ministry says it will continue to monitor affected areas and adjust support as needed as farmers work to rebuild their livelihoods after Hurricane Melissa. Kevin Black for CVM News.
An elderly homeless man in Buff Bay, Portland is drawing concerns from residents in the parish. The once well-known mechanic now spends his days seeking assistance and sleeping in public spaces. Members of staff at the local post office say the situation highlights a growing challenge with homeless individuals who use the facility as shelter. As our reporter Kevin Black now details, there is an appeal for urgent intervention.
This one is not mentally, it's only homeless. So it need help.
CVM News recently caught wind of a homeless man in Buff Bay, Portland, who is said to have been sleeping in bus stops and at the post office. Today, our news team caught up with the man himself, and he explained his prevailing plight.
They just I'm blind. And this one, I take over. If me hungry, I'm say, brethren, there's never like a problem. I used to ask, what's the problem? I say, there's maybe you $20 for makeup. You go buy one bulla, and you give me the bulla price. Let's go buy.
Carl Kennedy spent his younger years as a well-known mechanic in Buff Bay, Portland. Now in his 80s, he walks the streets, sleeping in bus stops and post offices, relying on daily assistance to get by. He insists he does not cause trouble or pose a nuisance to the public. However, a postal worker at the Buff Bay post office, where Mr. Kennedy often sleeps, says the location has become a regular refuge for homeless men, including some who are of unsound mind and have displayed violent tendencies.
This one is not mentally, it's only homeless. So it need help. You sit on a man in time asleep within dogs them. A madman was here, maybe a here, 2 here or so. He attack us when they come and tell him saying he have to go now inside of food place at him place.
The postal worker is
Education Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon addressed the issue of national exit examinations for primary and high school students, including the Primary Exit Profile PEP and the Caribbean Examination Council CXC exams. She signaled that a reduced CXC examination fee could soon be on the horizon for the island.
In terms of PEP, We're looking at extending the dates for PEP. We've not made a final decision on PEP. That's why I have not said it yet, but we are going to have to extend the dates there. In terms of CXC, they have already agreed to extend the timetable for exams for Jamaica. So we will have a longer period. So our exams will be later than the other territories. So that's already in train. And next week, I will also be able to tell you about lower costs for CXC fees. We've been negotiating lower fees for our students. So that's, by next week, you'll hear more on what the final amount is.
It's time now for a break. Stay with us. More when we return.
Tiles and get creative with your floors, walls, and all the spaces in between. Our knowledgeable sales consultants are happy to help create your beautiful finish with the latest designs in first quality porcelain, wood look, vinyl, mosaics, natural stones, and countertops. At Creative, you will get every tile you need for your residential or commercial projects. Creative Building Finishes, your one-stop shop for everything tiles. Visit our showroom at 5 Red Hills Road or call 876-929-5553. Get tiles, get creative.
The rebranded Heart NSTA Trust offers more than just skills training. Come to us for prior learning assessment to get certified without the need to attend classes. Let us provide the guidance and mentorship you need to start your own company through our entrepreneurship and business development services. Access our literacy and numeracy training through the High School Diploma Equivalency Program. We are Jamaica's Human Development Agency.
Welcome back to CVM News at 7. This week, our coffee series on Farming Forward continues. In this episode, we take a look at the new technology in the coffee industry aimed at making farmers' life easier. This new technology also assists with the prevention of counterfeit. Giselle Mills tells us how.
Welcome back to another episode of Farming Forward. This week we continue our coffee series. Last week we had an interesting visit at Jackra's lab where we saw the cupping specialist in action.
Cupping is a sensorial evaluation of the coffee. We do it to determine what are the quality features, the flavor profile, and also to detect if there are any faults or taints within the cup. We do it also to ensure that it meets the standard.
One might be wondering, where do they sign up for a job like this? Jackra's Acting Director General Wayne Hunter got you covered.
We will launch in the last quarter of the financial year, which is somewhere between February and March next year, the Coffee Institute. The Coffee Institute will provide training to various stakeholders across the industry. One of that is cupping.
Mr. Hunter added he is aware of the terrible road conditions in the Blue Mountain area. The Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining has been working with its agency RADA to repair a number of farm roads. Jackra assisted in that process and repairs have started. He's however asking for patience as it will take time to address all road conditions.
It is interesting to note as well that not all of those roads can be asphalt. So what is required is shingles. But we know that the farmers are, anxious to have their roads to bring in their fertilizer and to bring out the products, etc. But we just crave for a little patience in this regard. Help is on the way.
One other issue coffee farmers face is counterfeit. The Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee brand is ours to protect, and Jackra has partnered with Pia Bramwell and Christopher Reckford, who has decades of experience in digital transformation, to develop a traceability platform called Verified and True to assist with this issue.
It verifies the true authenticity of a product, whether that product is a commodity or if it's a consumer product. It basically offers the consumer or the trader or whichever stakeholder has custody of the product the opportunity to verify its authenticity.
A digital world. That is the era we are in. If we aren't careful, we risk being left behind.
A proposal was put in front of Jackra to say, look, we could help digitize your industry, you could help digitize your organization. It would benefit you, your team, it would benefit the ministry, it would also benefit the stakeholders in a wide range of ways. And the essence of what came out of that discussion is this platform.
Based on a Q&A done prior to this interview, farmers shared their concerns on new technology, and some right out shared they will not be participating. Here's the team outlook.
This happened already. This happened when the introduction of machines in farming.
Yep.
When a tractor was first introduced, when there was something else out there doing some of the work that farmers did 100 or so years ago, there was massive pushback. The industry continues to evolve and the farming community evolved.
That's all the time we have for Farming Forward. I'm Giselle Mills. See you next week.
Thank you, Giselle. Now, just as a reminder to our viewers, you can continue to watch the telethon on CVM+. It is now time for regional and international news.
We begin with news in the region. In Trinidad and Tobago, police have confiscated 4 illegal firearms, 132 rounds of ammunition, narcotics, and arrested 5 individuals during a series of operations across the northern, Port of Spain, and the central divisions recently. TTT News has the details.
Police have confiscated 4 illegal firearms, 132 rounds of ammunition, narcotics, and arrested 5 individuals during a series of operations across the northern, Port of Spain, and the central divisions over the past 24 hours. In Maloney, officers recovered a Smith & Wesson pistol and a magazine with 12 rounds of 9mm ammunition during early morning patrols. 4 suspects were detained, including 1 linked to a robbery and found with 148 grams of cannabis and 3 others in a stolen vehicle. In Port of Spain, drug block operations led to the seizure of 5 grams of cocaine and 9 cannabis plants. A house search in Diego Martin uncovered a Glock 43 pistol, ammunition, cannabis packets, and paraphernalia, resulting in the arrest of a 32-year-old man. Additional intelligence-driven searches unearthed 2 pistols and magazines in a bushy area off Coco Road. Central Division officers discovered 10 rounds of ammunition hidden in a concrete block and 100 rounds of .22 ammunition concealed in a refrigerator during separate exercises in Enterprise and Couva.
On the international scene, funerals have been held across Gaza after Israel launched a wave of airstrikes there on Saturday, leaving at least 24 Palestinians killed. We hear more from Al Jazeera.
It's very hard to tell that there is a let up in terms of Israel's attacks on Gaza. We can see basically a relative concentration of attacks on areas that are located beyond the yellow demarcation line inside the areas that are subjected to the Israeli control. We can see demolition campaigns, systematic destruction, not just only for the civilian infrastructure, but for the general landmarks there, turning this area into a barren landscape. Simultaneously, on the ground, people are still waiting to witness full alleviation for the living conditions, and they are also sharing concerns about any potential expansion for Israel's attacks to include further areas in Gaza within the coming days. And all of this is unfolding, in fact, as Hamas delegation landed in Cairo in order to discuss the latest round of Israel's attacks on Gaza and to discuss further steps in order to move to the second second phase of the agreement, that sounds very skeptical from the perspective of Palestinians.
That's it for regional and international news. I'm Kevin Black.
Thanks, Kevin. We now go to a break. When we come back, sports.
The Carpet Store. We bring comfort to every step with flooring that blends softness and style. From